Hello, welcome to Code and Box Automation Lab. This is Sharful. So today we're going to learn about TestNG Assertion. So first of all, we'll see what is TestNG Assertion or what is TestNG Assert, right? So before we go for the definition, first let's talk about very basic a component about when you do a manual testing. So when you do a manual testing, every step, every action we write for our testing, we have to do a comparison between our actual result and expected result, and if actual result and expected result both match, then we say this test case is passed. So similarly in automation, especially when you use in TestNG in your automation, so we use a TestNG. There's a component or features you can say in TestNG. It's called assertion. So assertion is to help us to do the comparison between your actual result and your expected result in our automation test cases. So to do those things, so we get the help from our TestNG features, which is called TestNG Assertion. So this is just the basic definition. Let's see, in theoretically, what is TestNG Assertion. So TestNG Assert help us to verify the condition of the test in the middle of the test run. Based on the TestNG Assertion, we'll consider a successful test only if it is completed the test run without throwing any exception, or we can say without throwing any error. So it means same thing, same thing we do in automation. Your expected result and your actual result have to be match. So it doesn't throw any exception, then we can consider that test case, specific test case, is got pass. So using a TestNG Assertion, there is a lots of method that we use to do the assertion. As an example, you can see assert equals. This is the method, and this method you can compare, your actual and your expected, both like to string, component. Assert equal, again, you can use actual and expected, and with a masses also. This is the the parameter that you can pass. We'll see when we'll do some example. You will see this, those the parameter that you need to pass or argument you need to pass. Similarly, assert equals, you can compare between two boolean, or just assert true, you can pass the condition. And when you use assert true, it means it expects some true condition inside. If there is a true condition inside, then it will pass. So you can use again with the condition with the masses. Assert false, similarly you can use false. It means it expects some false inside this as a parameter, like as an argument inside this, so whatever you will put some condition when you use assert false, and the result have to be false, then it will consider as a pass if you use assert false method. Okay, so let's see the type of assertion. So there is two types of assertion available in TestNG. One is called hard assert, another one is called soft assert. So now it's what is hard assert? So hard assert is a default component in you can say features of TestNG. So it comes from the TestNG library function. So hard assert, so when we use hard assert, I mean when you do a regular assert, so we use assert any one of the method, that's called by default, or by default assertion, or called hard assert. So it means if when you use hard assert, so it throws an exception. It means it throws an error immediately when an assert statement got failed, right? When you when you use test annotation with the test method. So there is a disadvantages of a hard assert. It marks the method as fail if assert condition gets failed, and the remaining statement inside the method will be aborted. It means if you have a method, test method with a hard assert, and if middle of your assertion, middle of your code, you have an assertion and it's failed, it will be, your compiler will not move to the next statement. It will direct move to the next test cases, like next another test method. So if there is any lines after the assertion, it will not be considered to execute. It will direct move to the, definitely it will throw an exception or error, but it will move to the next @assertion method. So that's one of the disadvantages. So to overcome that kind of disadvantages, you can use Soft Assert. So what is Soft Assert? Soft Assert collects error during your test annotation. So Soft Assert does not throw, but Soft Assert has a little bit also problem. It doesn't throw an error or exception when assert got fails, and as you will but it continue the next statement. So it doesn't throw an exception even it's failed, and it's but it continue, it execute each and every lines even after the fails assertion happen, and if there is any more statement in the same method, it will execute those method. So the problem in Soft Assert, like it will not throw an exception. So even it's fail, it will consider as a, you will say it's a pass, but it will execute all of your statement methods. So that there is a problem on Soft Assert too. So what do we want? We want to count if his assertion is failed, it will consider as a fail, throw an exception. If it's a pass, it will pass as well. We want to execute all the statement. If there is any line or code after the assertion, it should cover that part too. So to overcome that, that kind of situation, we use in Soft Assert, there is a method at the end we have to use. It's called it's called
I have a reminder for Sariful.
It's called, I can show you. It's called assert all method. Okay, so we'll see what is assert. So if you want to consider, if your assertion is failed, if you want to get an assertion error or any notification, it will throw in an error exception, as well as it will continue to execute rest of the code. That time we have to use at the end assert all. There is a method using Soft Assert. Let's do an example and it's gonna be very clear for us. Okay, so let's go here. I'm going to open my Eclipse. So here is my Eclipse, and I create a class just to give a name, assertion test, and here I'm going to create two methods with the @test, and I will say public void say first a hard assert method, and then it's a very simple method. Okay, just to explain what the difference between hard assert and Soft Assert. And then I will use sysout some printing statement, and I will just simple statement I will print, and say example, I'm going to print some okay, so this is hard assert method started, and after that let's do some assertion method, do some assertion. So we'll say assert dot, so there is here is all the method, those are the built-in method in assertion. This is in hard assert. So as I said, hard assert is a built-in function in TestNG. So you don't have to create any object of any class, anything. So you can just use the assert dot, then you can select any one of the method that you want to use. So we're going to use assert. Let's see your assert true. You can see. Let's see your true. Assert true. There is a two method. You can say boolean condition, and another one is boolean with message. So let's use the just condition. So when is assert dot assert true, use this method, it always expect a true condition. So it means whatever the condition you put inside, it should be, the result should be true. I mean it's supposed to return true or false, but the return should be true, then it will be pass. Other than, so I'm going to I'm going to fail the method intentionally, so that's why I'm putting false, right? Sorry, I'm putting false, so that method gets failed, okay? Because it's expect assert to expect always true result, but I'm putting fails to make the method fail, right? So let's put then another just printing statement. I'm going to put so okay. So after it's fail, I put another statement, just assert hard assert method got executed. So usually, as I said, let's hover my mouse, so import the package, TestNG package. So what will happen, you can see, let's save it and run it. Let's see what happened. Run as TestNG. Okay, you can see it's a one fail, one test method run, and it's fail one. We know that it's supposed to fail because we use assert true, but we pass false inside this parameter as argument, right? So here let's see a little bit details here. It says first is print this statement. This is fine. This is a hard assert method started, and then it said failed. It's failed. What method failed? Hard assert method. This hard assert, this method got failed, and it's throw an exception. Since this method got this assertion got failed, that's why it's throw an exception. Assertion error, and this is the line number 11. What line is failed? You can see this is the line number 11. That's what is failed. But so it's failed. Throw an exception. One is see this assertion got failed. So the compiler didn't come to here. This line, this printing statement didn't execute. You can see there is like this line, the hard assert method got executed is nothing. It's not showing here. So it means hard assert method, when we use hard assert or regular assert, if the assertion got failed, your compiler will be stuck here. It will not go to your next line in the same method. It's the same method. If you have a more line, it will not execute. It will jump to another new test method, right? We'll see this. I will create another test method which is for soft assert, right? Let's do it. Create another method. So let's create test, and then I'll say simple method, public void, then soft assert. This is just a method name, okay, and then let's put some. So here is the thing, when you use a soft assert is not a default built-in library function from TestNG. So for using a soft assert, there is a it has a, we have to create an object of a class. Is called soft assert. So soft assert itself, it's a class, it's a built-in class that you can use, but it doesn't comes with the TestNG assertion directly. So you have to create, you have to call that class. It means you have to create an object of that class. So name is new. So to create an object, we know this, we use a new keyword, then we said soft, the class name is soft assert, right, and then we put in a variable. So what's the object reference? The object reference is say SA soft assert, and return type is the class name, right? So hover your mouse, import the soft assert. Okay, it's a part of TestNG, but it's not directly used when you assert, because as hard assert is directly comes from as a TestNG feature. Soft assert also part of TestNG, but you have to create an object of the soft assert class. So now this SA is an object reference of soft assert class, so we can use this SA to call any method inside the soft assert class. So let's do some sys out printing statement before we do something. So we'll say similar things. We'll say this is soft assert. This is soft assert method started, and then let's use the system the object reference assay. Same, we'll use assert true. It has all the similar types of method. You can say assert dot assay dot assert true assert. Okay, you can see it shows ASSERT assert. You can see it has similar type of method. Okay, will fail also assert, so we're intentionally we're failing. It also expect when you use assert true, it also similarly expect true boolean result, but I'm typing, I'm giving a false argument, so it should be fail. So what really happened? So it will, what's really happened, let's put another statement. Let's put another printing statement after this, right, in Soft Assert 2. So I'm setting Soft Assert method got executed. So let's save it and then run it, see what's the difference. Okay, now first is check, say total test run 2 fails 1, but we can see for hard assert it's failed here, the assertion got here got failed also for hard assert, and also the assertion got also failed for soft assert, because both are I intentionally failed it, both are expect true argument, but I pass a false. So but it's saying, our result is saying one failure, right? It didn't say two failure. The reason why, if you go, because as I said, is soft assert. If you use soft assert and if your assertion got fail, it will not count as a fail, and it will move to the, and it will execute all the lines. Even after the assertion got fail, it will all execute all the lines. So it means it's supposed to execute this line too. Let's see if it's happening here. So here for this soft assert, first it's supposed to print this one. This is a soft assert method started. This is soft assert method started, and after that you can see it got failed, and also but it still it print this message like soft assert method got executed. You can see soft assert method got executed, and we just saw it. And also you can say it's pass soft assert, so it's saying it's soft assert method got passed, which is not true, right? So what's really happened, and the failed one is just a hard assert, this one, and then it's the error it shows. This is the error for the hard assert. So but in real life, what do we want? We want to make sure if any assertion got failed, it throw an exception. Also we want if any line, we have a more line in the same method after the assertion, that should get executed too. So to do this, I mean both the hard assert and soft assert has some issues, like we don't want to stuck our execution, but also we want to, and it's supposed to throw an exception, the error, and also we want to get execute. But only hard assert or soft assert does not cover all of our expectation the way we want. So to cover that part, to overcome this issue, we can use another, so to overcome that issue, we can use in soft assert, because we want to make sure it cover all the lines execute, and we want to know also, we want to make sure also it throw an exception if its assertion got failed. So in a soft assert, there is another method, it's called assert all. So at the very end, after all of our code in soft assert, we can use another method, it's called assert all. So let's call the assert all. You can see assert all method void. So assert, what it does, assert all, if you use assert all, this method at the end of your soft assert, it will help you, it will throw an exception if there is a method got failed, if there is an assertion got failed, as well as your code, your rest of the code after the assertion will also get executed. So it will meet all of our condition. So now let's save it. Let's now run it again. Okay, now you can see the total test run 2 and fails 2. So it means that our hard assert, as usual, it got failed, as well as our soft assert, when it got failed, it also count this one as a failed. So and it's supposed to also throw an exception. Let's see if it's a thrown exception. So first, our hard assert. You can see the hard assert, the first printing statement is shows, then it got failed, so that's why it didn't print the rest of the statement, and it moved to the our compiler moved to the this soft assert method. And here this is the first statement, printing statement from the soft assert, and then it got failed. You can see the it definitely, I will show you where it shows the exception for soft assert, but it also, you can see the printing statement from the soft assert, it's showing here, right? So first, we are confirmed that our both of the printing statement, all the code we have in our soft assert, it's showing. So first, and for the hard assert, this is the fail for hard assert, and this is the error throwing exception for the hard assert. But this part is missing. The printing statement after the assertion in hard assert is missing as usual. So that's why we're using soft assert with this assert all. So if you go a little bit down, you can see here the soft assert statement. So the result, the failed soft assert, it's showing soft assert also got failed, and this is the exception, the assert error. This is the exception for our soft assert. Here it's failed. You can see the line number also. So it's a 20 number. You can see 22. It should, okay. You can see here is it said the following assert failed, expected a true, but we found false here, right? And then you can see assertion test Java, it's a 22. So this is, since we are using assert all, this method, and due to using this method, it's covered. If it's using this method is throwing exception if the assert got failed, as well as it's covered the code also. So here is the line for 22. So 22 is this assert all method. Okay, so that's the way we can use soft assert. I mean, you can use, it's up to you, right? What assert you are going to use. If you don't have any code after your assertion, easily you can use hard assert. So you don't have to worry to miss any code in the same method. It will throw an exception and then it will move to the next code. But if you have any code in your hard assert, that time it's better to use your soft assert, so that it throw an exception if its assertion got failed. It also cover or execute the code after the assertion, and that time you have to use assert all method. I believe you got understanding. So this is, it's very clear cut. It's not that difficult or complicated topics. And to know in more details, you can go to our Code and Box Automation Lab, and if you check our automation testing categories, and here is also there's a block about TestNG, right? If you click on TestNG Assertion, and here is all details information as I just explained you with the code example I just showed you. I hope you can understand, and you can use this assertion, so either soft assert or hard assert, and also the difference between hard assert and soft assert in your test cases. Thank you so much, and you have a good one. Bye bye.